The Caribbean region is highly vulnerable to recurrent disasters such as tropical storms, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and floods. The Red Cross is working throughout the Caribbean to reduce disaster risk and strengthen emergency preparedness and emergency response programs. With funding from the Government of Canada, the Canadian Red Cross strengthens regional coordination and builds the capacity of the Guyana and Jamaica Red Cross to implement programs that reduce risks in communities vulnerable to disasters. Building capacity to manage and respond to disasters is a critical part of the Government of Canada's commitment to a more prosperous and integrated Caribbean. We believe it's essential that relevant disaster risk reduction tools are available to the Caribbean. Many disaster risk reduction tools and methodologies are not adapted to the Caribbean context. The Red Cross is working to share knowledge and experiences and to develop standardized tools for the Caribbean region. The Red Cross approach is to develop technical tools and methodologies based on international best practices and adapted to local needs and priorities of the Caribbean. The strategic targeting methodology is a good example of this approach.
The strategic targeting methodology is a tool to help any organization and governments to prioritize and identify vulnerable communities based on a very participatory and transparent process.
From the community perspective, the STM allows persons who are not traditionally working within the National Disaster Mechanism to be involved. So we go to them and they become part of the process.
The strategic targeting methodology challenges institutions to think differently about vulnerability in that it helps them to better understand that vulnerability is not linked directly to the hazard itself, but there are other dimensions that lend to vulnerability.
Sharing knowledge and best practices about disaster risk is critical to promote effective partnerships. The Red Cross Caribbean Disaster Risk Management Reference Center acts as a hub for the Caribbean, sharing information and best practices not only for the Red Cross, but the wider humanitarian community. CADRIM contributes to knowledge management and information sharing primarily through its website, where we have a number of tools and information that focus on gender mainstreaming, shelter, livelihoods, climate change adaptation, and other risk drivers that are relevant to the Caribbean.
Many of the tools developed by CADRIM are from Red Cross internships at the center.
Because the Caribbean is so geographically spread out, sometimes it is a challenge in sharing ideas with our peers.
The internship gives Red Cross staff and volunteers the opportunity to share their skills, knowledge with persons from different institutions, organizations such as universities and so on.
Together, these interns offer a range of skills and expertise that help to further contextualize and provide technical rigor to the tools that are being produced for the Caribbean.
Through the development and adaptation of innovative technical tools, the creation of knowledge-sharing platforms, and exchange through regional internships, the Red Cross contributes to disaster risk reduction both regionally and globally.